There's a lot that has changed over the last 22 years. In fact, I was sharing with you, I was just starting my business back in 2002. And if you go back over the last 22 years, what have you seen change just at a
Oh my gosh. I mean, you know what? Some things have really changed drastically and other things have remained the same,
sure?
right? They really have. So when I started here, it just blew my mind. Again, I didn't have a lot of formal training because it was a smaller organization at the time and they really hadn't advanced that. I don't even remember. I'd have to go back and look. I think maybe we were 125 million, three locations. And it blew my mind because, from a marketing lens, I kept trying to understand why would somebody come to Community Choice Credit Union? Like I didn't know how to wrap my head around how we're going to market this thing, how we're going to grow it, how are we going to get people interested, and there was no good answer. And you still hear some of these answers. So I would hear stuff like, "Well, we have a volunteer board, so we don't pay our board, so they represent the interests of the members." I'm like, "How is that a benefit to the members that the board is volunteer? This makes no sense." And then I hear, "Well, we're a not-for-profit financial cooperative." Okay, great. That's the structure. What does that mean? What's the competitive advantage? Well, we offer lower rates and fees than the banks do. I'm like, is that true? Have you actually done a comparison on rates and fees? Are they actually lower, or are we just going to say and hope they are? Plus, I kept thinking in my mind, I'm like, if we want to be Walmart, that's great, but lowest rates and fees or the best of those leads you right to the bottom, right? And then I systematically had a couple lunches with people that had been here a long time who I thought understood the difference and why somebody would come to Community Choice. And I'm not even kidding you. I was left with the responses multiple times of why wouldn't they come to Community Choice? So that was my direction when I started here. I thought I'm here for 2 years. I'm swimming in a sea of tan and taupe, nothing more boring than a financial institution. And what I'm left with is I'm going to go out and tell people the reason they should come to Community Choice is why wouldn't you come to Community Choice? So we've obviously changed a great deal, at least here, from that perspective, to try to create a different, unique selling proposition. But some credit unions are still that way.
Yeah.
So I think broadly, credit unions have advanced a lot. Clearly, technology, services, competition. But as far as some of them, they're still stuck in those ways.
And let's dig into that. It's not just credit unions. I would say it's also community banks too. We'll just call them community financial institutions.
Absolutely.
To the fact that whenever I wrote Banking on Digital Growth, my first book, I diagnosed this as narcissistic marketing. Like it's why should I join? And we're still asking these questions. We just wrapped up a digital growth blueprint for another organization, and one of the questions, senior leadership team, marketing, sales, kind of throughout the organization, why should I open an account at your financial brand? And they answer. And the response is we have great rates, we have amazing service, we have lookalike product features. Okay, the follow-up is okay, now how are you different than anyone else based upon what you just shared? And that's where you start to see the disconnect. Why is that from your perspective? Because you had that narrative, but you're working to reframe that narrative at your organization.
Why is there a disconnect, you think, with people?
Yeah, like why is there a perception that we believe that you should open an account at our institution because of these reasons that everyone else is saying? Why do we all say the same thing? And why? Because belief drives behavior.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of it's a little bit of narcissism, maybe, or there's this. And you think about credit unions, how they've started, right? The idea of a movement. You
Yeah.
always hear movement,
Mm-hmm.
which drives me crazy. And I think there's this idea of it's almost cult-like at some level that, why wouldn't somebody want to be a part of us? And they're not actually thinking about the consumer in mind.